And then you take your profits and put it into real estate. That's how you do it. You still looking at buying something out there? Rental?
I don't know. I was about to actually, I was just gonna sell my old house because I didn't want to fuck with it because Rachel's moving out. But then I found out she'd been scamming me hardcore on the rent, and apparently I can make a decent amount of money renting it out. So,
What's the rent? What should the rent be for there?
well, I was charging them like probably maybe 1,000 a month, if that. And apparently she's telling me now that she's moving out because I said that I told her that I wanted to sell it because I just don't want to fuck with it. And major repairs just eat up so much in profit. I had to pay $2,000 to cut back some trees, just random shit like that. And she was
Do you know
telling
what?
what?
I was going to say, what do you think the value of the house is now? Will you make a profit after your mortgage?
Yeah,
and everything?
so I think I owe around 90 on it. I bought it for I want to say 115, and it's worth like 130 now. Is what I brought a lady over, the one that helped me buy this house, and she said she could probably sell it for that much.
And you moved out, what, a year ago?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, so you won't have to pay any taxes at all then.
I hope not. I think I'm outside. When I bought that house, I had that first-time home buyer credit. I don't think I have to pay that back because I'm outside the window for that, but I'd have to check up on that.
Well, yeah, and there's this other thing in the United States, which is if you've lived in a house, I think for 3 out of the last 5 years, you can make up to $500,000 in profit and pay no tax.
Oh, I didn't even consider that. That's actually really cool.
So any gain that you have wouldn't be taxed as long, but you would have to sell it before that window opened up. Like if you buy a house, move out, and then you sell it 5 years later, that window is gone.
The initially they were paying 1,000 a month in rent. The mortgage payment on that house is like $860, but Rachel told me that she can probably get like $1,500 a month in rent for it compared to other houses. So at that level, it seems like it's more worth it to just hold on to it, and then I'll just make her play property manager. I'll just ignore it.
Why not sell it and get something just built to be a rental if you're going to be in the real estate business anyways?
Because I'm not comfortable leveraging an asset that I couldn't afford to pay for if shit got fucked. I'm not.
Well, I mean,
I'm not
right now
brave
you're
like
leveraging an asset, right?
Well, yeah, but the asset is something that I can, like, if nobody rented that house out, like you were talking about, like buying a $500,000 house with a $50,000 down payment and then trying to leverage that. So if nobody rents that out for 2 years, I'm pretty fucked. That's a lot of money. Like I'm uncomfortable because I'm forking what for a $500,000 house, probably like $3,000 a month for a mortgage or something like that. Like that's a pretty scary amount of money to not be making.
Well, do you think that that's realistic that you wouldn't be able to rent it?
Well, it just comes down to a matter of diversification and what level of risk I'm willing to accept. Like, let's say that I have like a 90% chance of renting it, so like I'm pretty much guaranteed to rent it at 90%, right? I don't know.
Well, for a certain price, you'll definitely rent it for a price.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm comfortable that there's a 10% chance that I could face like severe financial trouble when my life right now is financially like worry free. You know. Like, I've got, like, an ETF that's been netting me 13% returns over the past, like, 4 years on Vanguard. Do I really want to sink, like, a good portion of money that I have?
The reason to get into real estate is because the government has created these amazing tax incentives that are not present with stocks.
Yeah, no,
like,
I understand. I'm just saying that, like, this is why I would be more, like, I'm comfortable, because with the current house I have right now, the mortgage every month is, you know, $900 a month. If nobody lived in that house for 2 years, it doesn't hurt me. It's $1,000 a month. I mean, it kind of sucks to just lose that money, but it's not, like, a big deal at all. But if somebody rents it out, you know, that's pretty cool. It's $600 a month in profit, plus I'm gaining equity in the house, and, you know, like, that's a pretty cool thing. Whereas if I, you know, again, like doing it with a $500,000 house, like that's now we're moving into $3,000 or $4,000 a month that I'm not making or risking not making money on is a little bit scarier to me, I guess. If that makes sense. Like I'm more comfortable doing it with a cheaper house than a more expensive one, even though I know you could leverage.
Even if imagine you did it, you sold your place, so if your place is worth $150. What about if you sold that and then you bought a duplex for $150? Right, so you would get more rental income out of a duplex that costs the same amount. If you're going to keep your stuff in real estate, wouldn't it be prudent to do it into something that had the maximum returns?
Yeah, maybe. The housing market in Omaha right now is really crazy. Like everything is selling for so much. That's why rental prices are so high. Like even when I bought my house, like things were selling same day, and they still are almost. So it seems like it's a bad time to buy if I was going to do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't speak to the market in Omaha. I'll just say again that like the U.S. makes owning property just so beneficial. Like they want people to own property. And
yeah, no, I understand that. I understand it. But
the benefits are unreal.
The benefits are there, but you have to understand that those benefits are going to be baked into the rental price as well to some extent, right? Like if those benefits didn't exist, then people wouldn't be renting for $1,500 a month. They'd be renting for $2,000 a month or something, right?
Well, a lot of people rent. look how much those benefits influence the price, so to speak. But if you talk about, so your house is, let's say, 130 grand, and you can rent it for what you think, 1,500 a month right now?
Yeah, is what Rachel was saying pretty easily.
Okay, hold on. So let's call that 20 grand a year, right? So 20 grand a year, not counting expenses, you're talking about a 6-year payback on gross income, right? No, six and a half year. Or just call it 7 or whatever. It doesn't matter. That's a pretty good return on any investment, the 7-year return on investment. But then you get into the fact that you can write off so much if the value of the house goes up. And that's the whole reason you borrow as much money as possible, in my mind. So if you buy a $100,000 house, if the market is going up by 5% a year or 10% a year, instead of having a $100,000 house go up to $105,000, you have a $500,000 house going up.
Yeah, I understand leverage. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, this is why you borrow as much.
I know.
Like
I know. But then the diversification is what scares me. Do you understand?
But you are diversified. Like you're.
I'm not. Like a $50,000 down payment. That's a lot of money to me. That's a lot of money.
Forget about $500,000. Do 25 grand or
that's still a decent chunk of money to me. Like if I lost $25,000, like that would suck. Well, I guess
sell your car.
No, I like my.
You gotta be prudent. Sell your car.
I love my car, dude. That was the best 40 grand I ever spent. Oh, I love my car so much.
Oh my god, like literally the anti-Jew.
What?
The anti-Jew, like buying a fucking. This
is like the only thing I've ever. First of all, it's not even that nice. I could have got like a GTI. I could have, or like an Audi, like R8. I could have gotten like full fucking memes. Okay, so this was a responsible.
You were considering an R8.
No, I'm saying that I could easily afford it, but I'm very $40,000 car is pretty conservative considering the money I make, right? I could have gotten something like way dumber, like if I really wanted to. So let me have my one happy thing. I never buy anything for myself ever, right? Like what do I buy for fun ever? Everything I do is just streaming a computer game. So this is like my only thing that I've ever bought aside from I guess like going out to eat. Okay, so chill. All right.
Chill.
So chill.
I still think real estate would be amazing for you. You have the mentality to be able to effectively manage it and read the market, do that. There's a lot of stupid people who make a lot of money in real estate. It's not hard to be successful there. And you take advantage of the tax benefits, and it's just, look, the market can go down, and I know that's a big concern you have. If the market goes down, you're like, fuck, I don't want to own a $500,000 place that's going to be worth $400,000. But, it is...
I'll think about it. If Rachel wants to play like property manager to more things, then I'll do it. Like the thing that I like about stocks is that it's easily liquidable. Liquidity?
Yeah.
Liquidable? It's either liquidable or liquidatable. One of those two words, right? But like the thing that scares me about a house is having an asset that could like wrap its like rope around my neck and drag me underwater and kill me. That's the only thing that scares me about a house. Like for a stock, if a stock price starts to tank or something stupid happens or whatever, like I don't mind. I can hold it. I'll watch the value wither a little bit. It's whatever, It's not like I have to pay to keep my stocks. Whereas if I've leveraged an uncomfortable amount of money, we'll say even 25, we'll say a $500,000 house, right? If I'm holding on to a $500,000 property and I'm starting to get dinged $3,000 or $4,000 a month on something that's not generating revenue for me, that's much scarier for me. I can't just sit and hold that for like, well, nobody wants to rent for a year or two. Like, oh, well, I'll just eat, like $40,000 to $50,000 a year in lost income. Like that's a scary amount of money for me to just lose.
That seems very unrealistic, right? Because you're saying no one wants to rent. People want to rent. They might not want to rent at the price that you're offering.
Oh, so you're just saying...
out for. Like it's a you will always rent it. It's just you have to find that
accept a lower amount. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's never going to be nothing, right? I mean, unless you're talking about like the days of the 2007 bubble in Florida. But you have that. I mean, look, you have to ask yourself how important is it, and how often have you gotten out of stocks because you needed access to cash because you're giving up the benefits of real estate. For that one purpose.
I guess when I say liquidity, I'm lying. I'm lying. It has nothing to do with liquidity. I've never taken money in my Vanguard fund. I guess what I'm really talking about is getting billed every month for an investment is the thing that scares me. But you're saying that, but I'm being retarded when I analyze this because what I'm saying is if I've got a $4,000 a month house, I'd be really scared if I can't rent it at $8,000 and then I assume that I can't rent it. But the reality would be that, well, I would just eat, a kind of a loss, but not really, and I'd rent it for $6,000. That I can always rent that house at a greater value than I'm paying for it. It might just not be as much as I necessarily want to rent it for, is what you're saying. right?
Yeah, I mean, and you need to be smart about it, right? You don't want to be buying real estate in Detroit, 10 years ago, because then, yeah, you could have bought $1 million place that you couldn't rent for anything now, essentially. But if you don't feel like that's a market that's reasonable to happen to you, then yeah, that's the effective strategy to take. I mean, because we've gone over before, the benefits of owning real estate are just so massive and across the board that, yeah, you should look into it.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's it. I'll let you get back to your gaming now.
All right. I love you, buddy. Have fun. Be careful.
All right. Cheers.
All right. Bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.